Yeah, it'd be great to see him at least come back, honestly. Let's see. Hot take: if people support Itachi slaughtering the Uchiha clan and think it was understandable, then you should also support the rumbling Eren had even more reason than Itachi to do it. Well, it's similar but different at the same time. Itachi literally had no choice. It's either one or the other. Eren obviously saw the tie-ins as a plague, and that plague could not be exterminated in any way. The only way to end suffering, I believe, is just to slaughter everyone and just end it there. So he had more of like a pain approach, if you want to talk about like ideological parallels. Are there other solutions that exist? Yes, he had more options than Itachi did. Itachi literally only had two.
Like Itachi could have maybe tried a little bit more to try to, like think out of the box or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you really analyze it, just like what Jay's saying, it's completely different and very understandable. He was literally pushed to a corner and was forced to be given an ultimatum that both fucking suck. And he didn't want Sasuke to die. His goal was to protect Sasuke at all costs because he was a little kid and he was innocent. Like, he literally says it verbatim. He's like, you were just a child. You were innocent. It had nothing to do with you. And all these grown-ass adults are being fucking retarded. And children, basically. Like, so obviously I'm going to prioritize you and you were the priority. And that's why I did what I did. He was thinking, at the end of the day, his main thing was Sasuke. Sure, it was the village too. And to prevent war, whatever. But it was mainly Sasuke. At all costs to keep honestly, him safe,
Aaron's more so parallels, his ideology more so parallels Madara's, except obviously he doesn't have a fucking magical power that could put people in a trance. He has to physically eliminate the human race to end suffering with the rumbling. Madara obviously had a perfect magical ability that's not, existent in the Attack on Titan verse. So
of course not,
the removal of free will was his solution. Itachi's was trying to save as many lives as possible. Like the ends justified the means to him, because to him, if he would have gone with the other option, more deaths would have occurred, including his own little brother's life, which he deemed the worst option. So it's similar in some regard, but there's certainly differences as well, such as the ones I pointed out. So supporting Eren would be like supporting Madara, kind of. Like, can you support him? Yeah. If you want to argue, like, the Titans are an infinite plague that just cannot be exterminated, and you just have to get rid of humanity in general to stop the suffering. I guess that's like the Madara approach, but it's more extreme, obviously, because it's like a physically based one, because you're literally fucking slaughtering everyone to stop suffering, So yeah, it more so parallels Madara, if any, in my opinion, at least. Let's see. Yeah, Attack on Titan is goated though, by the way.
Yeah, I need to finish that shit, definitely.
What you think about this, Jay, but like personally, if I was Itachi, I would have asked Obito to help fight against the Hidden Leaf and then just keep Sasuke in a safe area, like where nobody knows where he's at. Like bring him somewhere that's safe, or better yet, even like, oh, that's kind of a risk. That's out of character. I don't think Itachi would gamble Sasuke to be in the Kame dimension, but what's it called? Yeah. But like, if Itachi, like, let's say there was an alternative, like a what if scenario, like Marvel, whatever, like what they're doing. Like, I feel like Itachi would have Sasuke hidden where nobody could get him, right? He's perfectly fine, and he's just not going to know what's going on, but it is what it is. And then Itachi to basically team up with Obito, you name it, whatever, and basically try to force the Konoha to submit. Not really kill anybody, but they would scale so high anyways to where what the fuck do they do? You know what I mean? Like, they're not doing shit, like,
yeah, exactly. So, that could have been a thing. Like,
but then there would be no plot. So
it seems like the will of fire doesn't enable that behavior though. Like, they're going to die fighting for the right to their village, So it's like, obviously they're more powerful, like the Uchiha, than the present Konoha at that time. But like the will of fire and like the shinobi,
those type of amps,
They're not gonna fucking submit and like wave a white flag.
Oh no, no. They're gonna take that shit to heart. But at the end of the day, like, if we actually even analyze their mental amp capacities, like, it wasn't really doing shit for heroes, and it basically only made him like basically like a tiny bit over Orochimaru, just a tiny bit. You know what I mean? Like, so even with all like their mental amps, unless you're built like the main character Naruto, they ain't doing shit. You know what I mean? Like Itachi, Obito, Fugaku, all the motherfuckers, even Shishui. Okay, even Shishui. They're all gonna pull and be like, nah, fuck you all. Susanos, Kamui, and they're done. They're done.
The way I look at it is, obviously the primary factor was Sasuke, arguably, but I think Itachi being a dual agent or a double agent also symbolically represents like his care for both sides. I think legitimately he cared for the Leaf as well.
He was too kind. Fugaku said that shit. Yeah, he said you're just a kind child. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. So that's why he outweighed basically using like Kantonism type of morality. He outweighed like what will create more net good, and to him it was just killing his clan and avoiding more death amongst both sides.
Exactly. So like he was heavily conflicted because of that. Like at the end of the day, what Itachi did was logical if you analyze him correctly. You know what I mean? If you don't analyze him correctly or competently, and you basically just think like XYZ or whatever, then obviously you may feel like it's either maybe not logical or he could have definitely done this or whatever or done whatever, and you could obviously nitpick it, right? You know what I mean? Or argue, semantics or in XYZ shit. But when it really comes down to it, like if you really understand him as a character, even from when Hiruzen describes him when he's in Edo, like he had the mentality of an Hokage at the age of like 6 or 7, like just the way he's configured and wired, that at the end of the day he would always choose that direction, like always, and that would would do the most greater good, right? You know what I mean? Like, or cause the least amount of casualties too. So it is what it is.
Yeah, because logically, if you only wanted Sasuke to live, you could have just put Sasuke and Jojo, and they would have been like started the Akatsuki or whatever together. Yeah. Like, that'd be easy. No one would be able to stop them at that point with those together,
and they would also use the Nine Tails as well. Let's be real. They would use the Nine Tails. You know what I mean? They would. Like if Fugaku's willing to do that, Itachi would obviously be willing. Shishui would be willing to. Obviously, Shishui would probably be the only one like really like against like having the Nine Tails evolve, because he probably would want to be like to have the least amount of bloodshed. Obviously Itachi too, but Shishui is the nicest out of all of them. You know what I mean? So he's like a bitch. He had the personality of Naruto. So like overall, what's it called? You know what I mean? The way it comes down is like they would use the Nine Tails, which was correct me if I'm wrong. It was Naruto still. Yeah, it was Naruto, right?
Yeah, of course, because after Kushina.
Yeah, it was still Naruto, yeah. So Naruto was the tail beast, but he's fodder, right? So they just get Naruto, like what Fugaku even says. Like, even in the anime, it shows us, like, the entire plan of what Fugaku was going to do. They literally just capture Kid Naruto, force the Nine Tails out of him, which is kind of sad, because he dies in the process, basically.
Yeah,
then they would go from there. But what Fugaku was willing to do is just have nothing but bloodshed and be cold about it, which was fucked up. What I feel like what would happen...
Yeah, his was more...
Yeah, what I feel like would happen if Itachi and Shishui is involved, they would make sure there's boundaries, and I don't think they would. Now I'm thinking about it, I don't think they would use the Nine Tails, because then that would involve having to kill an innocent kid Naruto. So
true.
So I think they would handle it themselves and figure it out. But if it's not up to Itachi and Shishui, then at that point they're definitely going to use the Nine Tails. Why not? Just for sure to force them to submission, you might as well. You know what I mean? So
the Shishui and Itachi were the only ones not falling susceptible to like the tribalism between the Leaf.
Yeah, and also Uchiha. I'm not gonna lie, I think like Fugaku had some tribulations like going against the whole like coup d'etat, because like he was the leader of the Uchiha and had to listen to them, obviously, but like he had a voice, which is the problem, because like even though he was conflicted, he didn't like express those conflictions, and so he heeded the words of his brethren and decided to engage upon the coup initially, to begin with rather, and so like. He wasn't as like cold-hearted, I would say, as like his like Uchiha brethren. But the fact of the matter is, like, he had enough of an inclination to engage upon the coup, which indicates that he was about this action in the first place. So,
yeah, essentially, he saw himself as obviously the head of the clan, and to him, it was the majority overrides even his own inclination. So to him, it was like, I might hear what my son is saying, but the end of the day, I am the leader of the clan, and the majority rules, and this is what they're deciding. So I'm gonna have to, align with their tribalism as opposed to Itachi's more so neutral standpoint. So that's why that's where he led towards and leaned towards, and Itachi had to, make a decision because of that. His father didn't want to, rather not listen to him instead of the clan. So he saw himself as the leader that had to listen to his clan. So
shout out to Jay, by the way. This is relevant. He actually made a pretty good what if scenario if Itachi decided to side with the Leaf.
Oh yeah,
if you guys want to see that, go check it out.
Yeah, that was the video I made. If like Itachi decided to side with the Uchiha instead, and I thought about all that stuff in the video, like Obito's and like involvement, stuff like that. So let's try to skim through this chat, folks. A few of you guys said some stuff.
Yeah, if Obito was there, dude, with Itachi, I mean, I'm sorry, like
the Leaf is fucked.
Bro, what do they do? Like that's like going against Minato. Like imagine Minato on the Uchiha's team. What do you do?
And there's literally no Minato at that point. What the fuck are they gonna do? He's dead already.
Hiruzen's not really a threat. I mean, like
Hiruzen's older. Yeah, like
guy, like he's arguably he's like a lot weaker than what we saw in the war.
Yeah. He's the only way, though.
Like,
Guy is the only way. You know what I mean?
Itachi like, already knows about the gates.
Hypothetically,
so he knows about he knows about the gates. So he would probably tell Obito and Fugaku, "Hey, let's kill him first, because if he gets to 8 gates, we might have a trouble."
That's the only real threat, dude. Yeah, honestly.
Yeah. After that, everyone's fucked.
Let's be real. I think Guy would just get genjutsu'd. If they're being smart and tactical, they're gonna genjutsu him and just immediately get him out of the fucking picture. You know what I mean? Like,
Tsukuyomi his ass, and it's over.
Plus, Obito can just calmly, for the amount of time 8th gate Guy is in, arguably, to be honest,
send him away.
It's unquantifiable.
Like, if he just already has it active automatically, he could just outlast Guy, and that's it.
Yeah, he just literally chills.
He's not dumb. He's not dumb to fucking try to risk that shit either. Like with Minato, like he's not gonna do that. He's gonna be, this motherfucker is really powerful. Like, I've never seen this power. You know what I mean? Like, it's gonna be 6-path shit, like right there and then. And he's gonna be I'm gonna just stay in this shit.
He could just leave.
He could just leave.
Come back once
like Itachi and everyone else may die, but like Obito is still gonna be there though.
Yeah,
and he's kicking his ass.
Yeah, Itachi would probably blitz base Guy, get him Tsukuyomi, end his life, and then everyone else is fucked at that point. Everyone's getting slaughtered.
Yeah, Kakashi's not nearly as powerful. It's literally Guy and Hiruzen. It's the only.
Yeah, Hiruzen, Guy, Hiruzen, Kakashi, and the Yama fucking fodder. Jiraiya, even at that point, would stand a chance.
No, dude. Yeah, no.
No, they're getting fucked up with Obito and Shisui and Itachi. Fuck no.
Facts. And Fugaku, he's worthy. Yeah, definitely.
They're getting fucked up. Let's see.
Like, Fugaku got an MS, so he's going to be about it too, meaning he should have access to Susanoo and whatever. We don't know what his abilities are, but he'll have 2 MS abilities, crazy genjutsu, like, bro. You know what I mean? Like, that's a problem too.
That'd be real bad.
Like, Itachi even acknowledged in respect. If you don't want to take anime into it, Itachi in the manga still even acknowledged and said, fighting him with the MS, this is going to be fucking tough. You know what I mean? Like, obviously you can interpret that and maybe be like, maybe Itachi's, like highballing him out of like being biased, or his dad, whatever, blah, blah, it's going to be like emotionally, whatever, yada, yada, like you name it. But like at the end of the day, having an MS is a big deal. It is. You can't downplay that shit,
Yeah. So. Let's see what people said. Itachi did have a choice, but he was presenting with a false dichotomy. But he chose Danzo's way and rejected the third Hokage's way. Itachi made his bed. Also, Itachi mentally destroyed Sasuke. He did that on purpose, though. He destroyed Sasuke's mind to make him hate him, to come after him and be seen as a hero. So the Uchiha could be in good standings again with the Leaf. That's why he did that.
And foster his power and to like.
Yeah, and to foster his power.
If you actually read the manga or watch the anime, like he's literally apologizing to Sasuke every time he has to do something fucked up. Like he's literally talking in his mind internally and saying, "Forgive me, Sasuke," or "I apologize," and like constant. Like once again, if you actually pay attention, like come on, that's just
come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Wasn't Aaron's reasoning that Paradise would have been destroyed by the rest of the world if he didn't destroy the world first? I don't remember the motivation being to put him in. It's been a while since I've seen it. All I know is he wanted to end suffering by doing the rumbling. He just saw like war's pointless. That's what I do remember. Itachi was capping when he said he spared Sasuke because he was a kid. Itachi killed kids during the Uchiha massacre. He only spared Sasuke because he loved Sasuke more than everything. You could argue that there was kids in the clan, which rationally makes sense because the clan was still ongoing. Or you could argue that Sasuke was the only living kid at the time. But I don't know. I would lean towards there probably being kids. I don't know that.
Or maybe Obito handled them or something. I don't know.
Yeah, or maybe he let Obito handle them. I know he handled the police force for sure.
Yeah, but, exactly.
Yeah. Let's see. Paradise would have been destroyed. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen Attack on Titan. In my opinion, if the other villages didn't invade the Leaf village after Konoha Crush, when it was at its weakest, they wouldn't have invaded during a civil war. They invaded the Leaf when it was at its weakest. They wouldn't have invaded. Yeah, probably not. If the Uchiha would have won, they would have been the most dominant nation by far on Earth. They would have had Obito, Fugaku at full power, Shisui at full potential, Itachi at full potential, Sasuke at full potential. There's no nation that would be able to stand against them, really. Honestly.
Without them being confined, they can just do whatever they want in terms of like propagating like their population.
Yeah. They could take over the entire shinobi world. Naruto would be dead. The other reincarnation's gone. So it's like they're fucked. The whole world's fucked. Whatever the Uchiha want, they get at that point. They'd have the Kodo, Tsukuyomi, fucking Kamui, everything in the palm of their hand at the same time. So, Perfect time to introduce Gohan versus Frieza rivalry and bring Gohan out of the scholar gimmick, I think. Yeah, with Gohan Beast, I'd love to see that fight. Gohan Beast versus Black Frieza would be great.
Oh, yeah, Gohan Frieza actually beat him.
Is that in a marginalized clan who kept getting curd versus a police state, so many fans come to the conclusion of genocide is okay. It's not that genocide is okay, but it was like it was
a necessary evil, dude.
Yeah, it was necessary evil. It was like the way Itachi deduced it is the ends justify the means. If this can avoid more war and bloodshed, then I'll have to do what I have to do. Is there theoretically other things he could have done? Of course, but it was a pretty tense situation.
Again, by the way.
Oh shit! I just saw that. Appreciate it, Kedrick, for the $2. Shout out to Kedrick for all the donos, by the way.
Oh yeah, bro.
Part 1 Hiruzen versus Datara.
Like fucked up and not unacceptable, but like it comes down to a thing where it's like, two lesser evils. Like, what are you gonna do? Like, you gotta, if you're forced to pick between, you know what I mean? Like, for instance, like if you're in a situation where you got like an apocalypse going on, right? And the only way to stop it from spreading to the whole world is just to nuke an entire city of a population of people. What the fuck do you do? Are you gonna just not nuke it and just risk and try to fight whatever, and then then it spreads to the world and everybody gets fucked and more casualties? Or are you going to nuke that one fucking city and eliminate that entire population? What do? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, exactly. You got to outweigh your options. What is a more righteous decision?
And then not only that, Danzo also groomed him in a sense, not completely, but in a sense, because Danzo was always trying to keep him on that very decisive, like calculated, mentality as well. Because there was even a point where he's on a ship, or Danzo gives him an analogy, and he's like, "Hey, if you're on a ship and a guy is like super sick, whatever." And you have all these people, and he's a risk to infect everybody, whatever. What do? Do you like try to figure it out, or do you throw him off the ship? And Itachi said, "Yeah, just kill the fucking guy, so less casualties." You know what I mean? Like, so he's always that type of a thinker. He's gonna try to choose what's gonna prevent the most damage. And at the end of the day, it's reasonable and understandable and morally the correct decision as well. Because at the end of the day, like it's like that's just unfortunate. You got to take the least amount of a loss. Obviously, neither or is correct or right, and obviously, technically, if you want to really be nitpicky and strict, then morally the best decision is to not do anything at all, and not do either evil. But at the end of the day, that's kind of like stupid as well and naive, etc. And I can go on and on. You know what I mean? Like, so
yeah, it's like it's in a perfect world. Obviously, that option would be picked over those two, but in a perfect shithole, I mean, you had no choice. Like, you had to choose something.
Even in our world, Jay, like any president or politician, like 9 out of 10 times, they would most definitely pick the least amount of casualty way, or whatever. Like shit, the U.S. did it, bro. When he bombed fucking, with the nuke. Because they didn't want to lose so many casualties. They said, "Fuck that shit."
Yeah, the way I look at the Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombings, it was like a way to intimidate to avoid further casualties. Obviously, they're gonna pick, fucking domestic soil over foreign. But another rationalization is if we do this, we stop more bloodshed in general.
Yeah.
Obviously, Nagasaki and Hiroshima had to take the full blow of that decision, but that's the way they kind of rationalize it. Yeah. And obviously, it's different because there's tribalism involved. Itachi didn't have tribalism involved in his, or you can kind of argue the very fact that he was so, appealed to Sasuke being his brother's tribalism, but nowhere near remotely similar to like fucking real life war with the United States prioritizes its own people.
Like Jay, so tell them that they could just Google how many casualties we had with World War I and World War II.
Oh, dude, it's like millions.
Or just fucking like the U.S. at war with just one area, not even multiple. Like the amount of people that can fucking die in war is disgusting and sad. You know what I mean? Like, and then with the Japanese, the how passionate and how like extremely like not really religious, but how like extremely passionate they are when it comes to winning things at any cost, because that's just how stubborn they are. They will literally do any means necessary, even if it means killing themselves, whatever, kamikaze, you fucking name it. And the U.S. is like, if we fight these people, we'll win, but we're going to suffer a tremendous amount of casualties and loss.
Exactly.
And so they were like, fuck that, let's just nuke them. And then force them to concede and pull a pain,
Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it, because the way the U.S. probably look at it, obviously we have no way to tell, but they probably looked at Japan as like, these guys are willing to kill themselves to kill us. So we're going to have to nuke them, because if we don't, we're gonna keep dying trying to kill them.
They would never submit voluntarily. They would never do that. It's the same shit like the Uchiha. They would never submit voluntarily. Hell no. They're just gonna be
like Data. Like,
and the thing
it's kind of like Data.
World War II, like it was like a 5-6 year length war, and you know, it requires a huge amount of like resources from like the Commonwealth, and
literally
there's a lot of casualties that take place within this time period, obviously. So it's like if you have the advantage of this like cease warfare for this long, then more times than not, the nation at hand is going to utilize that advantage or leverage, if you will. So just to reduce the amount of casualties over time, it's sensible.
Yeah, another like factor in real life war, at least, is the more war goes on, it seems the more, especially World War, the more desperate nations become. So maybe the U.S. was getting desperate, like we need to end this shit now. Maybe with the atomic bomb being such a fucking just an epiphany of warfare, or an epitome of warfare rather, was an attempt to try to stop war entirely, because it lasted for several years.
It was a flex to the whole world. It was a flex to the whole world as well, because if you think about it, other fucking countries could have also invaded and got into it and tried to take advantage, you know, and or be like, or better yet, they'll watch on the sidelines, right? Like what happened with the Konoha Crush, you know? They'll be like, okay, they're going at whatever, blah blah, and then all right, now we need to fucking fuck them up like behind the scenes, low key, because they're fully weak and they're like they're not even on guard. I mean, like they would take advantage of that shit, you know? So like at the end of the day, like, if you just think logically and in those senses or whatever, like it's very similar to how Itachi's thought process is, etc. You name it. Like it's cold, but it's the most calculated and realistic way to go about it, and even in a moral sense. Obviously, it's contentious. We can go whatever, but in a moral and in a way, if you just analyze it in that spectrum, it makes the most sense and logical decision to do that. You know, so
yeah, exactly. Yeah, even with the Oppenheimer movie, they kind of like illustrated what the atomic bomb meant symbolically. Like he even says it himself, like I'm death now.
Yeah,
because it represents like, I think the going nuclear, like to me, it represents like a turn in war where war isn't even worth fighting anymore. At least on that large of a scale of a stage.
It's like pain all over again, Jay. The Bijou bomb, bro. It's like, hey, fuck war, you know?
Basically, that's what it is. It's like a Bijou bomb, because in today's world, World War III would be in. It would probably result in near extinction, because nuclear war, everyone loses. There is no infantry versus infantry. It's nuclear bomb versus nuclear bomb.
Yeah, that's what Payne wanted.
Precisely.
Yeah. It won't result in just casualties. It will result in like desolation, like complete near extinction of nations.
Because Payne just flat out says, like, in order to understand one another perfectly, or Payne or whatever, or to force to get along, you all got to go through that shit. You got to know where it really hurts. You know, like.
So in a way. Yeah, I know where these nuclear bombs. So they're not even just for. They're honestly, in my opinion, to most nations with competent leaders, they serve as just for show. Like if you fuck with us, the world will end. Because if you shoot at us, we'll shoot at you, and we all lose. So that's why superpowers are so hesitant. Yeah, exactly.
Multiple countries are involved in these world wars, so it's like you fuck with one of us, you fuck with all of us, and then
basically it's a lose-lose. Yeah, like all the superpowers know that. Even Putin, you know, Putin's a hard ass and shit. He's like, oh, we'll go nuclear, but he knows deep down, like, if I go nuclear,
everybody loses.
The U.S. will go nuclear. The China will go nuclear. North Korea will go nuclear, and then we're all fucked.
We're all fucked. Like you better have some contingency plan to live in fucking space or in a bunker for the rest of your life. And once again, you really think these rich ass fucking goons and prideful, arrogant, egotistical motherfuckers are gonna want to live in a bunker for the rest of their life? Hell no, bro. They want bitches. They want to travel. You name it. Like
it's like a nation. The only way I could see that changing is if a nation is able to go to a different planet, to like, oh, we can just leave it, nuke this.
Then they would do it. Yeah, they would be like, fuck it. Yeah, I agree, 100%.
Right now, no, there is no technological innovation.
I feel like Elon Musk is trying to go that route. That motherfucker, he is set in stone to leave Earth, bro. It's just weird.
If he like makes the U.S. the first nation capable of that, then the U.S. might make some demands, with, like China or something. It's like, if you don't stop, we're gonna nuke you, and we're gonna leave to fucking Mars or some shit, like some crazy shit. That might be realistic in the next century or so.
It'll be like the Japanese to the U.S. all over again. And the United States is ahead for the millionth time, and then they're gonna be like, hey, you know, I'm gonna say right now, we have a way to be elsewhere. We don't need to be on this fucking planet. We will nuke every single one of you if you don't listen. And bro, it's fucked, but they might do that.
Yeah, it might go from, you know, like regional warfare or nationwide, like global warfare, to interplanetary warfare with like fucking different planets and shit. Literally, like intergalactic. That's some fucking Star Wars shit.
It sounds silly, but it's real though. It's realistic.
Yeah, a century or so, that might be realistic in about a century. Yeah. Right now it's not, but that's fucking.
You know, but the bottom line is, the main point is that we're diverging and branching off in a little bit, but it still all connects and corresponds. at the end of the day, like Naruto has a lot of similarities and relevance to our real world. You know what I mean? You got to think along that logic in a sense. And it's just, once again, it's like Konoha Crush. When shit went to fan, many nations tried to evade, fuck them up while they didn't have an Okage, name it, etc. Like, it was bad. Like, there's actually a lot of shit that actually happened after Konoha Crush. Same thing whenever after two nations just went at war. They try to take advantage, etc. Like, it's just a common human fucking thing. You know what I mean? Like, if someone doesn't want to be in the bottom anymore and they have an opportunity to rise above, they're gonna fucking take it 9 out of 10 times. It's just how humanity is, you know? So, it is what it is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Naruto certainly has some parallels to the real world, especially when it comes to morality. You know, that's definitely why it's so revered amongst people. So, but yeah, we want to challenge you folks. Let me try to get down the chat here. Let's see. The novels argue that Kodo wouldn't have worked even if Danzo hadn't interfered, since the rest of their plan would have likely disobeyed the leaders anyway. Yeah, that's a good point. That's actually rationalization as why Kodo won't work. Where else are we?
Yeah,
which is a decent explanation.